Like that story, you see, it gave me permission to do old stories about that person here in Perth many years ago. He had a dream, and his dream was of these five angel coming up to him in his dream. And every angel had a big pot of gold. Actually, had 5 pots of gold each. And the angel, they lined up and gave this guy 5 big pots of gold, gold coins, worth a fortune. And when he put down the 25th pot of gold, that's when he woke up. And of course, when you have a dream like that, you look around your room because you're half asleep and say, "Where's the gold?" He couldn't see the gold anywhere, no angels either. He realized it's just a dream. Sometimes we have dreams like that. But when he went down, got himself showered and dressed, went down for breakfast, he found his wife that morning had made him 5 boiled eggs and 5 pieces of toast. And when he looked at the newspaper, it was the 5th of May, the 5th day of the 5th month. 5 eggs, 5 pieces of toast. This was strange. So he looked into the back of the newspaper where they had the racing. And there's a race course, Ascot, named after the big one over in England. ASCOT. 5 letters. So he looked in the race number 5 that afternoon. And he couldn't believe his eyes. Race number 5, horse number 5, was called 5 angels. 5 angels. He just dreamt of 5 angels giving him big pots of gold. And he just couldn't believe his luck. So you only get these premonitions maybe once in a lifetime, if at all. So what he did, he took the afternoon off work. He never told his wife. And when I tell this story, because sometimes girls don't understand these things. Actually, they do. And he had to keep the lucky number 5. It's the 5th of May, 5 eggs, 5 pieces of toast, 5 angels, horse number 5, race number 5. He took $5,000 out of the bank. He went to the racetrack, Ascot. He picked the 5th window in line with the bookkeepers. And he put $5,000 to win, horse number 5, race number 5, 5 angels. He knew the lucky number 5 could not be wrong. And it wasn't wrong. His horse came in 5th. So the moral of that story is you cannot predict horse races. You cannot predict the roulette wheel. You can't predict anything, okay? It is not destiny. It is not fate in this world. And that's a wonderful thing. If it was destiny, it means just you would not know, you couldn't change it. Sometimes people think, "Oh, I'm fated to be unlucky. I'm fated to be ill. I'm fated." And even, please excuse me, some of the doctors as well. And they tell you that you're fated to die. Your sickness is terminal. Unfortunately, I've seen too many people who've had terminal cancer still alive today. Be careful there. Even the doctors, they cannot predict. It's not fated. It is not absolute. And this is really important. It means you have a chance. Everybody does have that chance. You can turn it around. And some of the stories I've seen are just amazing. There's a guy who comes once a year over to Bodhinyana Monastery to see me because he had stage 4 lung cancer and it just disappeared. And they're supposed to be terminal, but it never happened. There was one of my favorite monks, when I first went to Thailand, he had terminal cancer. He said, waste of time dying in a hospital, I might as well go back to my monastery to die. And about 25 years later, he died. Well, it was terminal, but terminal looked up 25 years before he passed away. So sometimes you really don't know. There's no such thing as fate. And that is really important for us to understand if ever we do have some of these diseases. Because if you think it's fated, it's written in the stars, I have to die, of course then you will die. But when you realize that no, this life is totally open, you don't know what's going to happen next, it also gives you the opportunity to interfere with so-called fate, to make your future, rather than being a victim of the future. And sometimes people are like that with their past as well. I said in the meditation, being a prisoner of your past. No, because bad things happened to you in the past, you think you're fated to have those bad things happen to you forever. And if you think like that, they do happen. If you believe in fate, you actually make it happen. There's no such thing as that. Just because you've had a difficult time in the past, it doesn't mean you're going to have a difficult time in the future. The great thing about this is you can turn it around. So people say, well, what about karma? Again, karma is what you're doing right now. It's not what you did in the past. That was karma in the past. It gives you the ingredients of the present, but it's amazing what you can do with what you've got. Even with, small things. I remember reading, somebody shows every now and again his inspirational videos. And there was, I think in Venezuela, they formed an orchestra, this very poor village, out of rubbish they got from the tip. And it's amazing, little wind instruments just made out of pieces of plastic tubing, and just they managed to find some string or some wires somewhere. They made a guitar, and it was like the rubbish dump orchestra, and they were really good. And for me, what that meant was, just what you have. It's amazing what you can do, just even with some of the worst ingredients. It showed me that you're not fated, because you can't afford proper instruments to play music. It's just how you put together what you've got. And that's such an important thing for people in this world who feel that life is treating them very badly. You're having a difficult time in life. You may not be the most beautiful, not most rich, not the most talented. But what are you doing with what you've got? And you find it's amazing what you could do. I mentioned sometimes that I usually do this when I do the stories about death. That I think I mentioned last week when as a young man I went to go and see Rod Stewart. There's only 6 people turned up. And I remember that time, in London. And I actually happened to hear, I think it was a funeral somewhere, hear Rod Stewart singing today. He's got a terrible voice. All croaky. He used to have a good voice when he was young. But it's amazing what he can do with what he's got. And turn that into a popular voice. He's a very popular singer now. But it's all croaky and stuff. I could do better than that. Maybe I should change my job. But what he does with what he's got, that's the amazing thing. That's why he's still quite famous. So this is, you're not fated, okay? You've got the opportunities. You can always do something with what you've got. And that actually starts getting us back into this, the opposite. People say, well, if it's not fated, it's not conditioned, it's not your karma, which is what people think is another form of fate. And, is there such a thing as free will? And again, that is, those two alternatives, it's either fate or it's free will. They both are wrong. Life is not like that. It's not total free will, because all of your choices you make, I always thought my will was free. One of the first times that got challenged, when I was about 18, I bought myself my first pair of green velvet trousers. I was making a statement. I was saying I was different. I was, cocking a snook at authority. Everyone else had dark trousers, but I had my green velvet trousers, and I thought, I'm different. And then I went to this big pop festival, the Isle of Wight festival, where I saw about another 2,000 people with green velvet trousers. Oh, that was such a downer. I wasn't different after all. And that made me start to think, did I really choose those trousers, or was I just conditioned by my generation? Really, was it free will, or was it something else? And a lot of times, we really think it's free will, but it's not. It is. This was a bit of science. There was this